Hello, everyone, and welcome to AI Agents Hour. I'm Shane. I'm here with Abby. Abby,
What up?
you got a new hat on today.
Yeah, dude, I'm shilling something else today.
Always. It's good to see you. For those of you that are not familiar, AI Agents Hour, we meet almost every Monday and we talk about AI news. We bring on some fun guests and learn what they're doing in the world of AI, and we talk with you. So this is live. Please use the comment feature, whether you're on YouTube or X or LinkedIn or wherever else you might be. And if you are listening to this after the fact, please give us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to it at. We do appreciate only the 5-star reviews. Otherwise, please refrain from leaving a review.
Yeah, fine. G.
But yeah, what's up, dude?
Good. It's good. It's busy. Last week was super busy with all the conferences and stuff, and this week is not as busy, so that's good.
Yeah, time to get things done before our conference next week.
Only to get busy again.
1 week off to make
Yeah.
moves. Yeah, for those that are not aware, TSAI Conf is next week. So if you have not got your spot yet, tsconf.ai is the URL. We have that somewhere right here. It's on the screen. You can register and attend virtually for free. So no reason not to do that and check out some of the amazing speakers we have.
And if you're in SF, there's definitely always things in and around events, so plenty for you to do as well.
Lots of after parties and pre-parties and all things in between.
All kinds of shit.
Yeah. But we could probably just get right into it because we have a packed episode today. We have 4 guests. I think that's a new record.
New record for sure.
I think we've had 3 before, but 4 today. So that's awesome. But maybe we can start with the first bit of AI news, and then we'll bring on, Andre as well.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's kick us off. What's the first thing on the docket?
Let's go through like the model news because I'll just bang those out real quick. And
Yeah.
So more stuff later.
Yeah, as always, there's a model news, right? There's always model news from model providers. So Minimax M2 was announced, and it's, says as an advanced model that it achieves global top 5 status, surpassing Claude Opus in ranking just behind Sonnet 4.5. So coming today, so it should be out. I didn't know if I saw the actual announcement tweet, but it should be out. If it's not out now, it will be soon, I'm sure. So that is interesting. Anytime there's a new model that especially is good around, writing code, which this seems like it is.
And the bold claim that it surpasses Opus, is super interesting. Minimax is a cool company. They're like based in like Shanghai. So once again, another Chinese model coming at you. So this is cool. I want to play around with this.
I think they said it was free for a couple weeks as well, and maybe it's gonna be open sourced. So I heard a couple different things. So need to validate all that. Also, Mistral AI Studio was announced. Mistral's kind of been, somewhat quiet, I think, for a while.
Because they're boring as fuck.
I wasn't gonna say it, but they're trying to get back in the game. They want you to know that they're still there, and they're building basically a studio to build agents and evaluate those agents. Looks like fine-tune them. I'm not sure if it just uses Mistral models or if it allows other models. I haven't dug deeply into this. I just know it came out and some people were talking about it, so we wanted to bring it up here.
Yeah, this is cool. I mean, this is kind of where I think a lot of model companies are going to go, right? To have like platforms, product platforms. Yeah, so we'll see.
And last but not least for today, there's a open source code agent from Kimmy Moonshot coming. It doesn't say when, but it just says it's coming. So an open source code agent, which I think is good. I like to see different open source agents because it allows us to figure out, one, like how would you build this yourself? Gives you more information around just how coding agents work. So it's always good to see some of the model providers open sourcing some of the stuff.
Yeah. And Moonshot is from Beijing. Chinese people coming after you.
Yeah. All the Chinese companies dropping new models. I mean, in one part, there's just so many of them. It feels like there's a new one every day. There's
Yeah.
just a ton of,
You need to do the breakdown.
Yeah, I think we need like a map of, maybe it should be like a geographical map of like where in the world these models are coming from and what models are there, because, and then there's different versions. Like this one's a coding agent, right? Which is just probably built on top of their models. But I do think it's hard even for me, and I spend a decent amount of time looking at this stuff, keeping track of all the different options, especially if you're just, doing the happy path of trying the big model providers and you haven't actually experimented with, Quen or any of these other potential models that are actually pretty good. Some of them work really well. I mean, we mentioned last week, Airbnb is using Quen pretty heavily in Airbnb's agent. So I think it's worth experimenting. All right. Should we just move right on to the guest and talk about the next AI news? We'll sprinkle in some AI news between guests here today, but we got the model updates. Those are some of the big ones. We have a few others we'll talk about as well. But I think it's time now, drum roll, to bring on our first guest. So we have Andre from, I guess, Neon.
Hi. Yeah.
Yeah. Databricks. Yeah, but it's great to have you on the show. Yeah. Glad you're here.
What's up, dude?
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm already laughing because I have the same trouble. I'm always saying I'm Andre from Databricks, focusing on Neon, or like Neon/Databricks. Yeah. One of those. All of them work.
Both. Yes. Best of both worlds, maybe. Yep. Yeah. Can you give us just the short TLDR? Who's Andre, and what are you doing here?
Yeah, for sure. I'm a developer advocate. I joined Neon in January, and then a few months ago, we have been acquired by Databricks. So now I work at Databricks, but I'm still a DevRel focusing on Neon. And Abi knows me. I hang out in SF. We have been hanging out at different events a lot in the last few weeks, but especially last week, as you guys mentioned already, it was pretty crazy. It was Next.js Conf and all the other events. But yeah, based in the Bay Area, originally from Germany, so that's the accent you're hearing. And then I moved here 4 years ago.
Nice, dude. Guten Tag. So, since, I guess, how crazy was the acquisition, having been there so, just gets fresh there?
Yeah, I think it went, super smooth. I was surprised how fast everything went. I was expecting this to be I don't know, months-long thing before anything really happens. But yeah, I feel like a Databricks employee already. We all fully moved over, new Slack and everything. But it was smooth. There was almost no interruption to our day-to-day. And from the beginning, the communication was basically ship, keep shipping, don't slow down. So Neon team has been doing exactly that and has been a lot of fun.
And Neon Data is a product itself, right? It's not it's running by its own product. Okay, that's dope.
Totally, yeah. We still have to figure out the communications around that a little bit. TypeScript at iConf, right? The second you guys announced it, I'm I want to sponsor this so badly. But then it's do we sponsor it at Databricks or it's Neon, right? So there's always we still have to figure it out a little bit because it is confusing if Databricks shows up at a TypeScript iConf conference, right? So I guess it's Neon then. But yeah, other than that, I think it has been super smooth.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I imagine over time, Neon starts to feel like a product offering of Databricks, right? But in the beginning, it's strange because people are used to Neon as its own thing and Databricks as its own thing, and it takes time for people to kind of mold the two together.
Totally.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about Neon was and much like Supabase, I would say too, when the agentic coding moment happened, both databases were the easiest to integrate, or it was almost because it was just ready for whatever reason. I know Neon already had platform as a service built in, so you could easily provision databases for people and stuff. And then Supabase probably jumped in because of Lovable. What do you think about that? Were you were pretty much part of that too, in terms of DevReling it?
Yeah, I think most dev tools that focus a lot on CLI experience and just the developer experience in general, where you want to be able to automate anything, you provide an API for everything. That makes it very easy to wrap that in a tool or an MCP server, or right, anytime you have a great developer experience, especially with an API, I think you're in a good position now to like take advantage of that and like wrap it in tool calls or provide a good agent experience as well. And then for Neon specifically, I think we're also just in a good spot is that by focusing on the serverless approach. So for those who don't know, Neon is a serverless Postgres offering where we split storage and compute. So we allow them both to scale separately, including scale to zero, which means it's very resource like it's good like utilizing your resources efficiently, right? And that's especially important if there's a lot of agents doing a lot of stuff and maybe something is created and then never used again, right? Like you want to make sure it's not like running a Postgres instance 24/7 in the back because that's very expensive. And that's where serverless is, I think, very powerful or just like very useful and valuable. So I think the architecture and like just the way it was designed just fits very well for the agents use case. We can talk a little bit more about that in a second. It's like kind of like what different databases we think of, right? Like agent managed versus like, I don't know, platform databases. But yeah, I think it was just like right time, right spot.
Yeah, for sure. Or is most of your traffic or usage coming from agentic use cases, or is it still like platform DBs like you're mentioning?
I think we're slowly creeping towards the 90% agent based.
Oh, wow.
So it was 80 a while ago. Now it's 90%. And that includes both people using Neon through the MCP server. So like an actual like dev writing prompts and an MCP server call is invoked, right? So like that we also count as agentic. But the vast majority of that is like Replit agents managing Neon databases and other like codegen tools like Replit.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting because I used Neon, before the agent, all the agentic stuff really became popularized. So it's amazing that, I thought you were all killing it then. It was really so easy to spin up a database, especially for, oftentimes I was spinning up lots of different projects to, prototype things and doing it all by hand, back in the old days, right? Well, as we did.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's awesome. The 90%, that's a huge number.
Look, this is a funny comment because I always thought Neon was by Vercel. That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
I kind of had that same assumption back then because you guys replaced PG from the Vercel Postgres. Like they removed it when the marketplace came out, and Neon was the database.
It was so much better.
Yeah, it was so much better. Oh my god! But then you think like there's some collusion here, definitely, or is that Vercel's thing? So that's pretty funny.
Yeah, no, I think from the very beginning we tried to be very good at that like white labeling experience. There's actually a couple of cloud providers that resell Neon under the hood, and like it's always up to them if they want to say it's Neon or not. And some are like very open, some like don't really care. But yeah, and Vercel did that in the beginning, right? It was Vercel Postgres, and then they opened up to the marketplace. So totally understand the confusion there. But yeah, I have some cool stuff to show you guys if you're interested. I have a little demo.
Please.
Yes, we love when guests bring demos. I think the audience likes to see real things that people are working with and building.
I have a real thing here. Tell me if you can see the screen. Yeah, looks good. Okay, Abi knows this because we were hanging out at a meetup, but I was building a codegen tool. It's open source. I called it Eileen. It starts with AI. I thought that's a cool name. And it's using obviously Mastra because how else would you run your agent loop? And then it's deployed on a Next.js app on Vercel, and it's using Assistant UI for the chat. And then a really cool tool that I want to plug today as well called freestyle.sh. Where you can provision Git repositories and dev servers, which works like very much optimized for codegen. So a really cool tool as well. So yeah, we can talk a lot of things about this project, and you guys tell me where you want to dive into. But the first thing I want to show you guys is just how it looks. So you have projects, right? Like exactly how you would imagine it. This is running locally, but I also have it already deployed. And then once this is initialized, it looks exactly like all the other codegen tools. But you already kind of like hinted that Neon has a lot of AI or agent use cases and usage. So we have actually started building features out now that were requested by code-gen platforms and agents, right? Like specifically targeting that use case. And one of them is versioning your database. And we call that feature snapshots. And I think it's pretty cool. So that's the one thing I really want to showcase really quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
So you guys are probably familiar with this feature where you have your prior versions of your code-gen history, right? The problem with the database there is that the database is stateful, right? And then only because you revert back the code doesn't mean that it also reverts your database, right? So if you, let's say you have a commit hash of your prior version, right? With Git, it's very easy to revert back to a prior version of your code. But then your database may be in conflict with the code, right? So like if you made any weird migrations, maybe the agent even nuked the database, then reverting back the code alone won't help you.
Yeah.
So that's where snapshots come in. So I can jump here to my, where is it? Yeah, I have an organization here called Eileen Free Tier Projects. So this is where the agent has access to, and the agent can create new projects here, and those are Neon database projects. And you can see that here's the Mastra is awesome backup project. I don't know why I called it backup. And when we go to the tables, so this database is fully managed by the agent. So the agent decided to create a topics table because I told it we want to have topics. And then the agent created some data here already in the database.
Okay.
So if we go back to the localhost version running here, what I can do is I can pick any of the prior versions. So let's say here we add topics section to landing page displaying topics from database, create topics table, and seed with initial topics, right? So this is where we created the database. So if I jump back to the version prior to that, then obviously it resets the dev server back to that commit. You can see now it's reset. But behind the scenes, what's also happening is, if I refresh here, you can see we're now on a different branch of your database. So one of the cool things about Neon is that we have branching, so you can instantly duplicate your database. So we created like a backup branch based on your prior version. But if you go back to the main branch, which is used by the agent, you can see that the tables are gone. So it reset to the version before the topics table was created. And you can imagine how useful this is. You can like jump between different versions back and forth and always restore your database with point-in-time recovery quickly. So that's called snapshots, and a bunch of code-gen platforms use it for versioning behind the scenes, which is awesome.
Dude, that's legit.
Yeah.
That's super legit.
I think a lot of people, probably see that feature, right? And maybe don't understand how that's working under the hood. So it's pretty cool to actually see it.
Yeah.
Dude, it reminds me of WordPress.
Did WordPress had database resets or like restores?
They have
like
revisions.
Oh, revisions. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
But you're like, like in that case, right? It's all like this content data that has different versions and in SQL and shit. But now there's like just two. There's like your own application, which could be any schema, anything that you want, and then like this like layer, like the content management system on top of it, which is in with your MCP, right?
Yeah, it's like a CMS for databases almost in some ways.
It is. If you check out this is my personal Neon account, and there we have the actual Eileen project. So like this is the meta database, right? This would be like the Mastra cloud database or the Replit cloud database where they store all the users, every project, the billing. And as you said, right, like that's where we manage the different versions. So every project here has a project versions table where we store the Git commit hash associated with that version, but also these Neon snapshot ID. And then it's just one API call to the Neon API to say reset the database back to that snapshot.
That's legit. That is legit. We might need to use some of this for our cloud databases.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine you have some people that end up with, dozens or hundreds of different versions, right? How does that, I'm assuming that must scale pretty well, but I imagine some databases are very, pretty data intensive. It could be very huge and have a ton of versions. Are you doing things behind the scenes to, try to, make that more efficient? Or is it as simple as you just have a bunch of copies of these things? And you just, storage is cheap. So you just do it, you just spin it up when you need it.
Yeah, it's a bit of both. So in general, also with our branching feature, we do a lot with copy on write and Postgres write ahead log, where we just save the diff between different branches, so we don't actually have to duplicate your data. But with snapshots in particular, and specifically also with like just these agent database, let's say you don't use your database for a month. What we do is we store all of that in S3. So the source of truth of the Neon storage layer is always going to be S3. And then if your database is running, obviously it gets exported out into the page servers and in our storage system. But yeah, S3 is very cheap, but then also we do a lot of cool stuff with write ahead logs.
That's it. Dang. So like, so the vibe, are we considering these like coding agent products are the main ones that, I mean, I think there are other use cases here, but like, are they using it super heavily? That gives like them hella usage as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then the crazy thing is, first of all, we have a lot of code-gen platforms building on Neon, but also agents use the platform way more aggressively than humans would, right? Like where a human would maybe create one branch in the beginning of the day, and that's the dev branch where they then develop a feature on. Agents are way more aggressive in the way they do stuff, right? Like you probably know that as well. It's like thousands of tool calls in minutes, like let's investigate this table one more time, then let's create one more test branch here. Oh, it's failing. Let me try again another time, right? So we just see a lot more usage in general, just because agents are also, with the resources they have available, way more aggressive.
Yeah, I imagine one agent is like a dozen or maybe 100 users, right? Just like,
Exactly.
and obviously much more efficient and can make simultaneous requests and all that, where it's, you know, a single user can't necessarily do that.
Totally.
Do y'all have any horror stories from running database? Like, you know, how everyone used to have horror stories for running databases in production. Like, do you have any horror stories for that in agents?
Yeah, I mean, if you Google postmortem Neon and look for a blog post in June or July, I think we launched it in July. We had some incidents because of just the new usage patterns and how they affected the platform. So I think that's counts as a horror story. Yeah, it's very interesting because it just affects our platform very differently, just the way agents work with databases.
Yeah, I imagine the techniques haven't changed, but the usage patterns and, you know, maybe the scale of individual agents compared to users changes. So I imagine there's some learning curves to
100%.
get it to where it needs to be.
Totally.
Carbon magnets. His horror story is drop table users.
Yeah, that's why snapshots are so powerful, right? Like if your agent screws up and you have a platform that supports versioning and also versions your database, right? Then you can just easily revert back to a prior version.
Also, the agent could it create a snapshot from main, do its change there, validate it, and then promote that to main? Like,
yeah, so that would be like, so snapshots is just a point in time little like snapshot of your database, and we store that for you, and you can always revert back to that version. But then we also have the branching feature where you can duplicate your database, and every branch is something you can connect to and has an isolated database environment.
Sure.
So our Neon MCP server, actually, you can show that real quick as well.
I want to see this.
Always better if it's visualized. So if I go in my Master Studio here, so this is the master playground for the CodeGen project I just showcased. And as mentioned, the tool I use for dev servers and stuff is called Freestyle. But I'm also connected the agent to the Neon MCP server, right? So what I could have done if I weren't as lazy, I would have created some custom handcrafted tools that provided exactly the access to the database that it needed. But I was lazy, so I just gave it access to the whole Neon MCP server with some tools that it probably shouldn't use or doesn't need to use. But the good thing is that I can show you all the tools now. And one of them is prepare migration. Let me just see. Yeah. So we have these prepare migration and complete migration tools. So if you just doing local dev and you have the Neon MCP server enabled, you can also take advantage of that. And what the prepare migration tool does, it explains to the agent that a database migration is scary and it has to be careful, and it should always first run the prepare migration tool, where we will create a branch, and then the agent can execute the migration SQL queries against that branch. And then we encourage the agent to inspect that branch, like check out the tables, check if the data still looks solid. And only if the agent is happy with the result should it actually do the migration against the main branch. So it's I guess to your point, right? Like where you can always use some cool branch strategies as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think users or people who are watching should look at this tool description, because that's what you should be doing.
Mhm.
Actually having good tool descriptions.
Yeah. The downside of the Neon MCP server for code chain agents is that we have way too many tools. I'm not sure. So far, it hasn't been a problem, so I'm not changing it. But the one thing I would probably do differently soon is like handwrite some tools that I think the agent should have access to in this case, for this specific use case, right? For local dev, this is perfect.
Cool. This was awesome, dude.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Nice use of Mostra.
Yeah, it was awesome working with the playground. Like it's so easy for debugging, right? Like you can just I had some issues with one of the MCP servers I was using, and then I had to debug it. And the fact that you can just like select one of the tools in the playground and fire it up from there to confirm that it's a problem with the tool, not with the agent or with some other stuff, just was super helpful.
Yeah, we thought so too.
Yeah, we are even more improvements and changes coming to the playground experience soon. So we've heard that from a lot of people, and that is one of the things we figured we should double down and make it even better, because we keep hearing people really love it. So let's find ways to continue to improve it.
Awesome.
Well, Andre, it was great having you on the show. We'll definitely have you come back on again if anything new comes out. You launch anything, you know where to find us. We're here every Monday.
Yep.
Every Monday. Yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course. See you at the conference.
Yeah, we'll see you at the conference. Thanks for sponsoring. All right, dude. One guest down.
All right, many more to go.
Many more to go. Should we roll right into it?
Let's roll.
All right. Next, we're bringing on Erik from CodeRabbit. So, Erik, welcome to the show.
What's up, dude?
Oh no.
Oh no.
it's not a live stream. And that's how you know we do this thing live, everybody. You know?
Technical difficulties.
Well, while Erik figures out his audio, that was pretty awesome. Seeing a demo from Andre.
Yeah. Neon is a really cool product. So it was dope seeing that.
Yeah, I just liked I used to use it quite a bit. Just how quickly you could spin up a database, right? It's just almost instant, and then you just had it. And a lot of times they were like, sometimes they were real things, and sometimes they were just throwaway. And so I think it was awesome how seamless you could use either. And so I imagine that's why it makes sense for agents, right?
Yeah.
Because you can use it for real things. You can also use it for if you need a database for a while and you can throw it away at the end. And that's why having it scaled down to 0, I think, is really smart.
Erik,
so we're gonna
back, I guess.
So we're gonna lose Erik for a minute while he rejoins and tries to get audio. And you might think this is Erik's fault, but it's probably because our lack of preparation and lack of general, general prep to the show. And Erik is back. Do we have some sound?
I think we have sound.
We do. You're here. All right.
But now my video is all messed up.
It's sometimes it's one step forward, 2 steps back. That's how we do it around here.
Cool. Yes, this is 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Yep, that checks out. Checks out.
Well, Erik, we're thankful for you joining us today, and for obviously being involved with the conference as well, TSAI Conf. But
Very excited about that.
Maybe you can fill people in. Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about CodeRabbit, and then I'm sure Abhi and I have tons of questions we can throw at you.
Cool. Awesome. I'll try to not yap too much, but feel free to stop me if I am. Yeah, I'm Erik. I work at CodeRabbit. Before this, I was engineering leader at Meraki, at Cisco Meraki. And last year-ish, year and a half there was working on agents. So it was a lot of fun, and just been hacking on agent stuff for the last, I don't know, while, or LLM stuff for a while. And I think I saw Mastra maybe like half a year ago or something like that. Came across it and was like, whoa, sweet. Because I think before you guys, it was the only way to do anything in like with JavaScript was like LangChain, or maybe like tie yourself to an OpenAI's SDK or something like that. And yeah, really love like the high level of taste and quality that you guys put out in the Master framework.
Well, appreciate that. So I first met you, Erik, at of all things, JavaScript trivia night, where
how'd you guys do?
Well, you would think that the guys behind writing a JavaScript framework would have got first. We came in second, unfortunately. I want to recount. No, I'm kidding. But the questions were really hard. You really because Lewis from Y Combinator was the one behind the questions, and his knowledge is pretty intricate of the JavaScript language, and so that was a pretty fun night.
Yeah, you should definitely have Lewis on at some point. That guy knows JavaScript inside and out.
Yeah. We should do it. We should have him come on and do like a JavaScript trivia on AI Agents Hour. Just you got to answer in the comments and answer the question.
Yeah,
But
that was brutal. I was like laughing because I got to have the privilege of just emceeing and just looking at some of the questions, man, as they come up. Like I literally was laughing at a bunch of them. So hard.
There were a lot of funny prizes that night too, like free code review from a person.
One free voucher.
Yeah, one free code review.
Free tickets to the conference. That was cool.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you guys. Yeah. I don't know if I told you guys this, but we also ran like 10 different agents, and we had like one that had access to an embedding model of like all the ECMAScript specs. And I think I only showed a couple because I felt bad because like no one got more than like 50%, right? And the models like crushed it. So it's like, oh, it's not.
We're getting replaced slowly.
Yeah.
I mean, but then again, that'd be like saying that you got to do math without a calculator. It's like some of that stuff was basically you had to run the JavaScript code in your head, which I imagine a machine should be able to do that better than a human. So I don't feel too bad that they crushed it, because ideally those are the tools we should be using to answer those kind of questions.
100%.
Dude, like a couple of weeks ago, I started seeing you everywhere, and I found out that you're now at CodeRabbit. What is CodeRabbit? And I think everyone's seeing you guys everywhere. So like, talk about that kind of motion too.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't here for the founding, which was a little over 2 years ago, so I can't speak totally to the thinking of it. But like what I could see is that like CodeRabbit is really established as a product. It's code review. Tries to be like basically like having a senior engineer review your code, doing the first pass, kind of like the tedious part. And it's like having a senior engineer that does all the things that a senior engineer knows they should do when they're doing code review, but like never really has like all that time. And computers are pretty fast, so you can do a lot of tasks. And then like basically having an LLM there to give a little bit of agency to make like judgment calls on things turns out to be like a really, really useful thing. So I know the team was like just heads down, focused on product, and they still are very just focused on product. I've never been in a place that's so intensely focused on product and metrics and trying to understand everything that goes out, what exactly is the effect of it. So I'm learning a ton, which is a privilege. I think that is basically like, well, there's so many people that are out there like on X or other places that like hype up stuff a ton. And that's definitely not the culture at CodeRabbit. It's like a very professional kind of it's a dev tool. Yeah, it happens to be AI that helps us achieve a little bit more than you could just with the static tools. But it's a dev tool, so it should just do the thing it's supposed to do. But in the world right now, like, you do have to make noise, you do have to be seen, and we don't want to go out there as like hype beasts. But like, if you don't know about us, you should definitely check it out and try it. And if you don't like it, let us know. And kind of like the way to do that right now is to be a little bit louder. We've done like a BART station takeover, a Muni takeover in SF, a billboard on the 101, different things across like YouTube and X and things like that. So yeah, I'm trying to raise more and more awareness about CodeRabbit. But yeah, I don't know.
You think like it's because like you guys have a couple competitors. Are they doing the same shit? Like, are you trying to just kind of one up them on at least whatever tactics they have?
That's a good loaded question. I think there's the way I think about it is like, there are like, so CodeRabbit basically defined this like product vertical of like AI code review, and having like this agentic like set of workflows, and that's been out there for a little over 2 years. And there are companies that like startups, for instance, that have pivoted to that product category, or even like new startups that just focus on that. There are also like other dev tool companies that are kind of like expanding horizontally across like dev tools, and so they're having some kind of new products or something like this in this category, which is you could get like worried about it, but like, it's also just massive validation. Like, we're on already over 2 million repos. I think the last I saw was like 13 million reviews done, but it's probably more by now. And we get a lot of like good feedback from folks. So there's a lot of validation for like AI code review, and it's pretty darn useful. Like, I just have a default on all my personal projects nowadays. And and then we also see like some really, really big players, like massive tech companies that are also kind of getting into it, as well as like the frontier labs and other things too. So there's definitely it's getting more crowded, but at the same time, like the total space is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. So I think we try not to think about it too much.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think that's the case with a lot of different types of products in the AI world, right? I do think that it's not as necessarily a zero-sum game either. There'll be maybe in the future there'll be some you can't have 100 code review tools, but I think the amount of people using it today is minuscule in compared to what it's going to be in a year.
100%.
And if you're not using some kind of code review tool, even if it's on a personal project or especially with a company project, why? I would actually be curious, because if you're using AI tools to write the code, it's probably useful, and at least in my experience, it is useful to have kind of almost like an unbiased third-party AI tool that can provide at least the first pass. It's not going to catch everything. It's not going to be perfect, but usually it's pretty good. And so in my experience, I would highly recommend people try it out if they haven't, because I do think you'll likely catch things, because it's almost like a lot of the small things that, like I used to be the guy. So I've been put out of a job, I will say. Like I was always the guy that would be like, oh, you have this missing comment here, or this bad formatted comment. And, like that, not that helpful of stuff, like nitpicky stuff. Like I would do that just to be like, hey, let's keep the code base clean. That stuff goes away now. Like I don't have to do that, because the agent can usually pick up on those, like just little mistakes, right? Little things that maybe they just missed. And then obviously like some bigger things too, that, even an engineer that has 20 code reviews to review and they're writing their own code, maybe they, they went a little quick through that when they missed something. So it's nice to have kind of the little like angel on your shoulder that can at least give you the first pass before you send it to a team member who points at something and says, why'd you do this, dumbass? Not in that way, but
the code review, just like models, like I think everyone has different experiences with different coding review products. Because like even on our team, we're like super split between what people like and like what we're using, and then like some people are like they swear by it. Some people is like Claude Code is way better at this, and it's just like all this shit. Like, and it's because every product is so different, and maybe people's like human experience with it is different as well. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like we're all engineers, so you pick the tool that like works best.
Yeah.
I'd say like kind of with any tool in that's for a specific thing. If you're working on a team, like you should probably like just pick one. And this actually reminds me of a tweet from Simon Farshid from Assistant UI, like I think a few weeks ago, which was something like one of the most like underappreciated features of CodeRabbit is that it detects other code review bots in the PR, and so it'll just be like, hey, even if you have it set to auto review on your repo, it'd be like, hey, like I've detected another code review bot, so like I'm not gonna do spam you with the same things that other PR reviewer bot's gonna have there. So
I think Simon runs like 4 on his repo, right?
Yeah, I think I PR'd into Assistant UI like I think last winter or something like that, and was like, whoa, this is a lot.
He's collecting them like candy.
Yeah. But I mean, like at the same time, like I don't know, I'm sure you guys have the same experience. Like over the last like couple of years, like maybe you were kind of like set with like your dev setup, and then in the last 2 years, you're just like it's a little chaotic. It's just like how much things are changing and how many new things I'm trying, and so
yeah, I am curious. Just in general, this is a good audience participation. If you're listening in, how many times have you changed something significant about your development setup in the last 12 months? Because I can name, I've been a diehard Cursor, then it was Windsurf for a while, then back to Cursor, now Claude Code. And I've heard a lot of people saying Codex is now the new Cursor or now the new Claude, but a lot of people are disagreeing, right? But it seems like there's so many really good tools and it's hard to keep up with them all. And I'm just curious, so if you are listening, how many have you gone through? I can name 4. I've changed my setup 4 times for sure in the last 9 months.
I would say the same.
yeah, every week.
Yeah, Ruben, every week. That's what it feels like, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm in the mode of like anytime something new comes out too, like I'm just gonna try it like right away. Like maybe it's only 5 minutes or something like that, but
yeah,
so much new in the space. At the same time, like my kind of non-AI tooling has changed too, where I don't know if it's like the fatigue from all of the new tools or just like it's easier mentally to compartmentalize things, but I've like really gravitated towards single like high performant simple tools that do a thing and do it well, like Ghosty. It's just like it's so fast and it's not going they're just going to be a really fast terminal shell. Yeah, I don't know. Zed as well. So like I saw like the memory usage and energy usage of like VS Code and VS Code forks, and there's just like so many extensions and everything now that like, and I think Zed, especially in like the last few weeks, has become like really nice. Like they're doing like kind of this like performance focused, developer experience focused, a lot of constraints around like extensions and all that, but for the purpose of like making it a really, really nice developer experience to be in. So really, really stoked.
I've been meaning to change my terminal. I mean, I don't want like no hate to Warp or anything. I think that was like a change I made during the last 12 months to use Warp. But I want to like I don't need AI in my terminal personally, like because I already have other tools for that, much like anyone else. So I do want something a little bit more raw, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I should become a Neo Vim guy again.
It's never too late.
We support NeoVim. We also have an open source like fork with some like custom NeoVim stuff from CodeRabbit. If you want more CLI tools, we also have I think it's still the only agentic code review CLI. So you can spin it up with Cloud Code or with Codex, or really anything you want. Just say, hey, when you think you're done, call the CodeRabbit CLI and do a review.
That's it. Yeah, let me pause that for you right here.
Yes. But yeah, it's fun though. Like it is kind of fatiguing with like every new thing that's dropping, like every new model, every new tool. But like it is also super exciting time to be an engineer.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, indeed.
Also, we started using CodeRabbit too.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
As of before this meeting.
So I was actually trying to figure out because besides the microphone issues, I didn't see the memo you guys left in the calendar invite that's like bring something, bring some topics or whatever. I'm like, oh no, what am I doing? So yeah,
we like to keep this pretty casual. So you know, I wouldn't. We basically tell people, you know, for those of you who might be a guest on in the future, it's just like if you want to bring something to talk about, that's cool. If you want to hang out and just talk AI, that's also cool. We're gonna ask you some questions. We're gonna keep it pretty chill. We mostly want to learn what people are building and, you know, about the cool products in the space. Yeah.
Got a fan in the chat.
Hey.
And I think you're doing a bunch of stuff with open source too, right? Over at CodeRabbit.
Yes, huge. It's like I know it feels really, really good. Just to be able to contribute to open source. So like a lot of the tools that we use are open source tools, and we contribute to them when we find issues with them or when we want to propose like new features. But also earlier this year, I think February, we announced $200,000 cash to give to sponsors. So like CodeRabbit itself is free for open source, like by default. No like form or application or anything like that to fill out. Like if the repo is set to public, we consider it our open source plan and it's free, which is really, really cool. So it's on over 100,000. It's probably more than that at this point, but over 100,000 open source projects, which is really cool. And then last month, when we announced the Series B, we at the same time upped the open source pledge to being $1 million in cash. Because like credits are good and stuff, and we probably spend more than that in inference costs for open source. But at the end of the day, like open source maintainers need resources and they know what they need best. So yeah, I remember even talking to you guys about this it was after the JS trivia.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys did the OG or like full G like open source ethos move, which was like, I was like, how can we support you guys? And you're like, don't support us. Support Hono.
Yeah.
Those guys need it. So that was really awesome.
There are so many OSS projects that are not venture backed and are so used by everybody that rely on donations. And if they have like high usage, dude, that you guys are like, it's a very game changing thing having a fund like that. So, dude, that's tight. So congrats to you guys.
It's super.
That's how you get some goodwill,
yeah.
That's how you get some goodwill too.
Yes. Yeah. Also, Man, dude, it feels so good. Like I'll go on and be like when I set up like my new laptop, I was like, okay, oh, this is like an open source repo. Like, do we support them already? Oh no, we don't. Okay, let me reach out. How can we support you? Like that's such a cool feeling, dude. And like I could just imagine being on the other side of being like just getting a message that's like, hey, I love your thing. Can we just give you some money every month? It's super cool. I have a repo. You shouldn't use it, but but it's like 25 or 30,000 npm downloads a month, and it's like a feature complete thing for like years, and people still use it, and it's kind of scary. And I think the repo is like 6 years old or something, and I've had the GitHub sponsors thing there the whole time. And I think the math works out to like it's probably over 1 million npm downloads or something like this at this point. And I have gotten exactly $0 in sponsorship over that time, and like put in so much time. So it's a very real thing that open source maintainers need support.
Yeah.
Totally. They don't need issues opened up that say like, if you don't fix this thing, like I'm not going to use your library or something, so
Yeah, usually it's big companies that do that shit, huh? Like they just like hog up all the sponsorship, Then you have to be like a popular person to get money.
Yeah, I think that's typically the case. But yeah, I think that is one thing that is underappreciated in open source is, people is as much as open source maintainers do probably like really well documented issues that are reproducible, which most aren't, right? Or they're not very well written. So, one, if you are opening an issue, please just, take the time to spend that extra effort, being very, just use a lot of detail. And, but
CodeRabbit can help with that, by the way. We also work in issues.
I was just thinking like, and then if it's almost like, well, then if you could just be really detailed in the issue, there's probably open source repos probably should just have an agent that can take the first pass at those issues and tell you if you need more detail and ask for things, because I do think that would really help open source maintainers.
That would help us
get their lives back a little bit where it's, we have people that, especially at Gatsby, like that was like someone's job was just triaging issues. That was literally, we had a rotation. It was a thankless task. No one wanted to do it. Because it was always people, like pointing out all the bad stuff, and there always is bad stuff, right? It's like, this doesn't work. And so it felt like you were just spending the whole day looking at these issues, trying to figure out who can work on it. Yeah. What's the priority? Like all these things that I do think that AI can help open source maintainers at least get a little bit of peace of mind that something's taking a look at it, doing a good enough job to at least get it moved along to the right place or right person, and maybe even at some point taking a first pass at what the solution might be.
Yeah, dude, maybe we should build something that creates reproductions too, or maybe CodeRabbit should do that too.
Yeah, I mean, like, so we throw things in a secure container, and you can just run whatever you want. So there's like, we're actually like one of the things I'm trying to like, one of the challenges that I'm trying to make simpler is the CodeRabbit config. So it's wildly configurable. The default's like really good, and that also presents a problem where like people don't even realize that they can configure it how they want to, but you can chat with it like on an issue or PR, and that you can develop like learnings that way. So it's like, no, we don't care about, I don't know, memory leaks or something on this team. So don't tell us about memory leaks anymore or something. But you can also just like go all the way down to like pre-merge checks, where you either do kind of like natural language if you want to, or you can just like run scripts, whatever you want to do. You don't have to know a domain-specific language or anything like that. Like it's got a shell. You don't have to know that it has a web query tool like search, but it will search if you wanted to go to a website or something like that.
Cool.
During its runtime. So it's pretty cool. I'd be happy to sit down with you guys and jam on something. Like this is the same thing we hear from other open source projects. I was talking to folks from Anaconda, this big Python package manager bundle thing or whatever. I don't know what to really call it, but yeah, like I was trying to do some like kind of cool, clever, like what would be helpful or whatever. And they're like, dude, like the thing we spend the most time on is triaging issues. And like, just like what you said, and that's totally an issue for open source, not an issue for like private businesses, right? Like that employees all know each other and, you know, they've got some ticketing system or process or whatever, or employee onboarding or whatever. So it's totally an underserved area.
Dude, I would love, next time I see you, we should talk about that.
Also, I promised you this, so I got a hat for you, man.
Well, I'll wear it next episode for sure.
Yeah, well, I will grab one too.
I'll
as
bring
well.
two.
I don't wear them on. Maybe I need to start being a hat guy on the stream. I don't know. I feel left out right now.
I'm just starting something. I'm seeing if it goes anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, slowly. It used to be we used to, you know, talk about the energy drinks. Now I'll be just like slinging hats on the stream.
It's a different one every time I see you, Avi.
Yeah, it's like
What's this one?
if you have a hat, just send it to Avi.
It's from
He might wear it.
Elasticsearch. I don't even know what it says. You know, for chat.
Yep. Can you just say your home address on the stream, Avi, so people can send you hats?
You'll know where I live. The patch. You know.
The patch.
And if you find the saloon, you know, when I'm in town, you might find us.
But send it to the saloon, dude. That's what
Yeah.
We're not quite there enough to have our own spot, like the one OG that's there, you know, quite a bit. But you know, but we do you know, we do some coding, some live coding at the saloon when we need to. Awesome. Okay, well, Erik, we do appreciate you coming on, telling us a little bit about CodeRabbit. Appreciate, you know, your help with the conference. Excited to see you there next week. And yeah, excited to explore CodeRabbit more with Mastra too, because you know we use tools like this, and we want to be, you know, we want to figure out how to make all of our lives easier, especially if you're using an open source product. So if you're using open source or even just on your personal projects, check out CodeRabbit.
Yep. Feel free to DM me too at ESThor on Twitter. Happy to help.
Cool, dude.
All right.
See you later.
Erik.
Take care.
Nice, dude. Hats are in. Thanks, Ruben.
Yeah. And yeah, the unofficial, this is funny, the unofficial P.O. box of Mastra, the saloon.
The saloon. We're going to be moving soon. We don't want to dox ourselves. But
Yeah. Well, we'll be, moving. We'll have to have a new location, you know,
new saloon.
well, which is good because then, you know, people start trying to find us there and we'll have to have a new location.
If only we were that cool.
We're not. But we can dream, right?
Yeah.
So Professor Andy might be a little delayed, had something come up. We'll see if he's still able to make it. But until then, until our next guest,
talk about some news.
We can chat more AI news. You know, we didn't get to it all for a reason, because we wanted to save some time.
Yeah. So let's talk about workflows, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Vercel had their Ship AI last week. They announced a bunch of things. So, you know, we knew about some of them that were coming. We learned about some of them with you all. And, you know, Mastra is, you know, built alongside AI SDK, I guess you could say now. So we work really well with AI SDK. And so we're kind of excited about some of the new stuff and want to talk about it.
Yeah. Let's see, where did it begin? So I think we should start just at like the easier thing to digest, which is like, we'll get into workflows next. Like the easiest thing to digest is there will be an agent class in AI SDK. and it looks pretty similar to a Monster agent, but there are some notable differences. If users want to use that with Monstra, they'll be able to. That's essentially our take on it. Like, there are a lot of agent classes out there, so you should be able to use any of them in our studio. So that's the
Yep.
vibe there.
Yeah, and I think what we've learned over the last 6 months, maybe in the last year, but definitely the last 6 months, is everyone is kind of coalescing on the same structure for what is an agent, which is actually a good thing, because it means if you're actually out there building an agent, it's becoming more known what that actually means. Okay, you have some kind of agent loop, you have tool calls, maybe you have some kind of memory, you maybe have some input-output guardrails, you maybe have some kind of handoffs between multiple agents. So there's a lot of these things that are pretty much the same. If you look at Vercel's implementation, you look at OpenAI's Agents SDK, you look at our implementation, it's going to feel pretty similar. And I would argue that's a feature, right? It means that the agent part is becoming less exciting. It's just becoming more known what that means. What does an agent actually mean? Exactly. Yeah. So I do think that we'll see more of that. And there's probably a lot of other like agent frameworks out there that are lesser known that are probably coming to the same conclusions. Right. I think if you go down the path of building an agent framework, you realize there's just a handful of things you really need and it needs to do really well. Solve that, then you can start to think about some of the other problems, which are memory and evals and workflows, which we'll talk about.
Yeah. So. One thing I do love these new releases from everybody around the place, because you get inspired on stuff. So like Vercel's AI SDK v6 is exporting a tool loop agent, which I guess is playing on the Simon Willison like de facto definition, tools run in a loop with the whatever the fuck. And that makes a lot of sense. And so what that really inspired me is like we could export the agent loop workflow, right? So you can like instead of new agent, you could get the workflow, which is what's running, and then you could add steps to it and you could do whatever you want. So we'll do some cool shit like that too. It's not like we can't,
Yeah, and that's maybe something that other people don't know is that our agents use our workflows under the hood, which is pretty cool. So it's just all built on this concept of workflows. So you could obviously build your own on top of it. Maybe we should make it even easier.
Yeah, that's a good segue to the Vercel workflows. So I did a whole weekend. I had a good, nice weekend with Vercel workflows. I'm going to reserve my judgment. I want to tell you what the community is saying, and then we can talk shit about it ourselves or support it. So let's talk about first of all, what are Vercel workflows? They are a durable workflow library. It is an NPMI workflow, which is fucking crazy. That's the first thing you got to say. That's fucking crazy to have that package name. So shout out to them. Dude.
I don't know what they spent on it. We'll never know.
Dude, but I wish I had the money for that.
They spent money on NPMI AI, NPMI workflow. So they threw some money at that for sure.
Unless they've been like sitting on it for their whole career.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I mean, that would be very years ago they just thought like maybe we'll do a workflow. We'll just like squat on that. But I doubt it. I bet they bought that.
Let me share my screen here too. So if you're looking at this, so my first take is they introduced a decorator, which does some special magic behind the hood. You can use them with this dev kit that compiles this code into something executable based on the infrastructure, and that's chill. Other than that, it all makes sense. You have workflows, you have steps. If you're trying to do parallelism, you use promise.all. Very JavaScript friendly. So I mean, definitely cool. I did a compare and contrast with how does this differ with Monstra? Now Monstra has two concepts in workflows. The first concept is you have the workflow graph. So when you're writing create workflow, create step, parallel, for each, branch, etc., what happens in Monstra is you're creating a representation of what we like to call an execution step graph. And that doesn't mean that it doesn't have any opinion on how the graph gets executed. It's just about what it looks like. And then you have these things called execution engines. So we have one that's a default execution engine, which looks a lot like workflow. Just going to throw that out there. But we also have ingest as an execution engine, and soon Cloudflare, Temporal, and maybe Vercel workflows. So that's kind of how our things differ. But if you look at the compiled code for a Vercel workflow and the compiled, we don't have to compile any code, but the execution engine of the default, they're very similar in how they work. So that's that. But let's talk about some pros and like the pros area and then the negatives, or like the detractors or whatever. So this dude Karthik, super sick deep dive, which really helped a lot of people understand what's going on here. And I'll just do a little summary for y'all. When you have use step, there is a compile step, right? So today you can use this library with like Next.js, Nitro, or anything that can compile or bundle shit. So kind of one of the things right now is you need to have like a bundler to run this in a certain type of way. But what this use step does is it uses like this SWC compiler, and it transforms use step into a bunch of stuff. But you essentially turn this into a function, and then this becomes like a register step function. So already there's a parallel. Like in Mastra, you do create step, and then this thing, you just compile to create step essentially. So that's one thing. There's a big compilation plugin with SWC. I said that. Then there's a bunch of different modes this thing works in. It works as a step mode, workflow mode, and client mode. So this is pretty cool, and like how to interact with this flow in each mode. And then after that, you kind of like have these worlds. I don't like this name for one, a world interface, but the world is what like storage adapter the workflow is going to use. So like in Mastra, you can have storage adapters for Mastra, which then workflows piggyback off of. In this case, it's the same shit. You have worlds, which could be Postgres or whatever you want. And so that's like the storage part of it. And then there you go. You can like start playing with it. Sleep. I don't know. A lot of this stuff is the same under the hood. But that directive is what really is interesting. So let me talk about how the directive blew up on Twitter. So on that side of it. Okay, let's start with this one. So Tanner Lindsay, he wrote a blog post about directives. So it's called Directives and the Platform Boundary. So there's a quiet trend. This is actually a trend that people are saying like, oh, where did this trend come from? We used to have use strict in JavaScript. Cool. But then with later React versions that were like proposed and then used in Next.js, you had to use client, use server, use cache. These are all new things that were technically in React, but then supported in Next.js. So it's kind of like that bundler needs to exist. And then now with use workflow. So they're not really language features per se. I guess, not truly, but they have like, there is a compilation step that has that. And he just makes a lot of really good points about if this is a good pattern or not. He's more on the type safe committee in terms of you should import things, you should use the functions, and, and one thing he worries about is, does this really get you locked in? Like, for example, here, instead of using use workflow, why don't you just have workflow and step, aka what Mastra has, just saying, or, things like that. So his worry is lock-in, right? And then all these frameworks now have to support a plugin to then bundle this shit and run it. So that's that. And then the two funnier ones, one's more drama. And like, stop me, Shane, if there's questions or anything. But
not yet. Keep going.
Cool.
Do your thing.
Then our homie Dax, he comes in with the banger. So because this directives thing really like is a polarizing thing for JavaScript. There are people who like directives and people who don't. I don't give a fuck personally, but I'm just gonna say Dax doesn't care either. But there's all these people now arguing over directives or not, and it's where all the either fanboys from each side start arguing on Twitter, and then you see like, you're not, if you don't like directives, it's because you're not smart, and then he just roasts them pretty much. So some people work on other types of software where their backend runs as a standalone service or on Node or Bun. There's a wide range of how this code gets compiled. Providing a library type feature requires a compiler. That requires a compiler means it has to support every single configuration. So it's harder to maintain, it's just more complex. So it's a heavy choice for people who don't already compile it. And that's like the basic thing. So that's that. And then the last point is from our homie David from Sentry. Decorators and function calls aren't magic, though. They're traceable. This is magic. No flexibility, no control, full lock-in. What do I gain from this? Programmers who know even less who to program, who break even more systems impossible to debug. I'd never use this. So coming out with the hot takes there. Okay, so that's a lot of different shit and different people. What do you think, Shane?
Yeah, I think again, it is polarizing. I don't personally care that much. I'm not that strongly opinioned. I know some developers really are. They want things their way, and they have very set standards in how they want to do things. I always thought that even with Next.js, when you had the use server, use client, I kind of thought it was just dumb, like just to have a string. But we've had use strict in the past. Like I get it.
Yeah.
This seems now it's like decorators inside functions. This seems like another level. It's one thing if it's at the top of the file. It seems a little messy to have to like have these just random strings that do magic, right? It's just so I'm not the biggest fan, but at the end of the day, I don't care that much if it works. Like I'm mostly of like use the tool to get the job done. So I think it is kind of cool, some of the stuff they're doing under the hood. But again, you're kind of subscribing to the magic, and the more magic, the more likely that something doesn't work, and you feel like you either getting locked in or you feel like maybe you just don't know how to debug it if something doesn't work the way you expect. So that's the only thing. Yeah,
we've been ripping magic out of our bundler for the last couple of months because of this problem of it's hard to debug, and when you're not the person who wrote the library, aka users, But after looking at the compiler, maybe it's because we're bundling nerds though at Mostra. None of us said it was like, it's kind of whack for the user is our sentiment, or maybe some of our developers, it's like whack for the user. But as a bundle Ruski type of person, it's tight because they were able to magically create a workflow engine through the bundler. I don't know how that will shape out long term, but I definitely respect the work. It's tight. Like it is cool. But it's not something that I think will be good for our users or for the user. Unless you marry into the whole ecosystem, and which is probably what the strategy they want you to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Last tweet got a point. Yep, Kramer definitely does that.
Yeah.
Heard some cool Twitter chat about message passing between the agent and stuff. Yeah. We're going to have PubSub. Well, that's for Vercel, but we'll have PubSub engines in the new year. All
right. Well, I think we exhausted the Vercel topic. Let's talk a little bit more. This one I found just kind of interesting. I haven't read the whole thing. I've kind of read the TLDR, but wanted to share it with people. There's this really cool paper on basically vibe coding with large language models. So I'll share it here. And if you like reading papers, this is maybe a good one to browse. Now, that being said, maybe you just want your AI to summarize it because it's 92 pages, but I think a lot of it's just like you have dozens of pages of just like the ref. Yeah, just the reference. So it's only like, I don't know, only 40 pages or so. No big deal. But I think it is interesting to just think about how, using large language models to write code works, and what some of the findings of doing like a longer survey and study on it actually is. So I'll drop that link in the chat if you are all interested in some light. I'll say very light reading, but obviously not light reading. Another thing that it has been released, which is interesting if you're coming from a different world maybe. LangChain released this open memory AI memory engine, and I think this is just kind of something that's going to be more to come. I think we've said it on this show that maybe 2026 is going to be the year of memory, and this is just LangChain I guess is getting out early, which is good for them. They compare, like, they actually have memory built into LangChain, but now they have kind of a separate open memory package, which again is MIT, kind of talks a little bit about what it can do. So you can check that out if you're looking at memory providers. There's a whole bunch obviously listed here. Master has our own memory, and we'll be having a bunch of improvements in that in the next couple months, but definitely into 2026, because I do think memory is becoming more and more important.
I'm ready to fucking go to battle next year on some memory shit.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go to fucking war on some memory shit.
Well, so I think this actually ties really nicely into how we're talking about that the agent primitives kind of become, we've all coalesced on the same patterns. Memory is going to end up being the same way. We're just a year, it's going to take 6 months or a year. And then what's going to happen is everyone's memory is going to start looking close. And then the differentiation, it's kind of like, the differentiation in, other types of products, right? Over time, if it's, a database, all vector databases start to look the same, and then you have to differentiate on little sets of features, little nice things, but it becomes a little bit more of what's your preference and less of actual technical, how does it work? Now, of course, there's caveats to all this, but I think memory is going to be the next frontier for agents. So I bet you this time next year, when we're getting close to the end of the year, we're going to be saying, wow, everyone's memory is starting to kind of look and act the same way. And I think that's kind of a natural trend that we're going to see.
Yeah, for sure. Memory is part storage and part retrieval. And there are just different strategies going on in the market right now. We're going to be doing some new shit too. So that's where it gets exciting, right? Where you're trying to get mind share. So we'll see.
Yeah, we're cooking up some really cool things over here. So I'm very excited.
Memory is like one of the most interesting parts of the AI experience, in my opinion. And this guy used memory or Mastra because of memory. Well, it's about to get better, bro.
Yeah. If you like it now, just wait.
Yeah.
Should we talk about this next topic here? We want to talk a little bit about AI music. So Professor Andy is coming on, but he's going to come on after Gaurab. So we have a little time. So which gives us the opportunity to talk more AI and maybe show some AI music demos.
Let's do it. Does if you're in the audience, have you used Suno yet? And if you haven't, why haven't you? Because it's pretty tight.
So how long have you known about Suno?
I found out about it that one time we had group office. You weren't there, but I had group office hours at the Subimage office, and someone mentioned it there, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll take a look. But I never did until you started playing with it.
Yeah, which was just like 2 weeks ago, last week, whatever it is. I sent you a song. I was like, dude, check this out.
Yeah.
I wonder. Yeah, we should pull that up because I think I made a Suno for the show, and
let's play some of those.
And I haven't actually played it. I think literally I just sent it to you. I should
pull it up.
Yeah, I should find the link. So yeah, Suno is essentially AI music generator, but it's actually it's pretty cool. It's very good. It's obviously not perfect, but if you wanted to, be a music producer, it makes you feel like you could do it. It gives you the sense that you could do it. Just like the image generation models gave me that sense of, I could design great images or great graphics. This gives me the sense that I could, design, create music. Now, granted, I'm a musician. I do write songs, so I can actually appreciate how hard it is to write a song. And now I can do it in seconds. So, you know, I guess I'm out of that job too.
All right, let's play this first banger that we made.
Hey, I hate your tower. Body y'all, man. Hey, when the city fuck you, let me broke his water dirt and let me track to it. It's all I know, I say money for a focus when it's straight, gonna got to it. Yeah, I just wanna be nice, you know what, man.
I don't even know what he's saying.
Yeah, I don't know what he's saying, but sounds good.
Pretty good. Let's see. There's another one you made.
It's got a good beat, you know. It definitely hits.
This is another one. All right, let me share this one. And I think it is not that one. Here. All right, the next one. This one's sick.
Hey, I hate your tower.
Dude, that should be our outro, dude. Like, we should make that an outro now.
Yeah. I mean, we gotta have an outro. Next time.
Let's write the song right now.
Yeah.
Just to...
Yeah, let's try to create our outro. Let's create a new outro for the show, and let's show everyone what it comes up with. And Ralph says, no one really knows what they're saying, but it's provocative. I agree.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know. They just make they just have a sampling of tons of you know, filler words, and they kind of just like, you know, creates some sounds, but then they mix in some real words so you feel like you know it.
Let's do male voice, hip hop.
And then they say those are both actually fire. Yeah, these are the kind of tools that, you know, on the one hand, as a musician, I'm like apprehensive because I feel bad for all the musicians that are trying to make a living and now people can just do it, right? But on the other hand, if you're a content creator, if you're a creator of any kind, you have so much power that you can do. Like we can create an outro to the show, and I don't have to plug in my guitar into an amp and open up, you know, GarageBand or something and try to like write something, which I could do. It would take me hours and it would probably suck. But,
dude, I was writing a bunch of R&B songs, dude.
But this, you know,
I had lyrics.
But maybe it would good. Like I could probably come up with something pretty good, but it would take me hours, and I'd never do it because of the trade-off. It wouldn't be worth the time. But this, you know, this takes us a couple minutes, and we got a whole bunch of options, and we can find some kind of outro song that we use going forward. So that's pretty cool.
Let's try.
AI agents. Oh yeah. Master.
Oh, dude.
Master. Now. I'll be ashamed. Tell 'em. Signing out now, baby. Yeah.
Oh, whack. It's cool, but it's kind of whack.
Yeah.
I think it's the funky part that we'll tweak it. But
Yeah.
Let's try this.
Yeah.
The lyrics right here. I feel like we're in the 90s. Dude.
Yeah, dude, that one kind of hits.
I'm gonna like that one.
Yeah, keep that one around. You know, maybe we can pull out some stuff from that.
All right, so how should we change this? Should we do like one more round?
Yeah, let's do one more round. I don't know. Let's do like a, you know, I like. Can we change it from hip hop? Let's do something more like rock. You know, like let's do something more in my genre of music. You know, we've been living in Abby's world. It's time to time to take a step into Shane's mind here.
Okay, what other description words should we use?
Let's do. You can put like maybe like you could do like punk, rock, punk. That's good. Punk rock.
Heavy guitar.
Heavy guitar. Heavy guitar riffs. Put heavy guitar riffs. Yeah.
That jams hard.
All right, let's see. Nickelback. So there's always one. There's always someone that says something related to Nickelback. Come on, Nickelback. So, I got a Nickelback story. Okay, this reminds me. All right, so Nickelback. I wouldn't say I'm like a huge Nickelback fan, but they came to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and they do have some good music. Like, I'll give them credit. And so I was like, I'm gonna go to the Nickelback show, and I guarantee you, Nickelback remembers Sioux Falls, South Dakota for not the good reasons. So so we were in the Premier Center. Abby, you've been there. We went to Theo Von together, and so Nickelback has this thing, which I don't know why they do it, but they basically like throw little cups of beer out in the crowd. Like we're giving you beer. I don't know why. Someone in the crowd didn't like that they were throwing beer at them. So they proceeded to throw their giant cup of beer at the lead singer of Nickelback and got him. So and he had to go like change his shirt. It was and I was like, that's what he's going to remember Sioux Falls, South Dakota, is that there's one guy in the audience that threw his beer at him. Needless to say, the singer wasn't real happy, kind of embarrassing moment for, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. But other than that, it was a good show. So that's my one Nickelback story.
Never meant it as it was, man. All right, let's play this.
Yeah, let's play this, and then we'll bring out our next guest.
Yeah.
Master agents! AI! Agents of AI! Ellie speaks! Shade 2! Agents of Master, what else to do?
All right, that's tight. And then let's get a little bit of this. Which one do you like better?
I think the first one's a little bit better, but I'm surprised, like, the vocals were heavier than I was expecting, but I guess like punk and heavy guitar riffs, like, yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's so crazy how it can just do that.
Yeah, I mean, literally, we could just have a different outro every week.
Yeah, just how we're feeling.
Yeah, like maybe that's the play. We're gonna queue up like 7 outros on the side, and then whoever just picks one just plays it. All right. Well, we had a fun diversion, while we're talking about AI music. But I think it's time to bring on our next guest. So we're going to bring on Gaurab from Mongo. So welcome to the show.
Hey, everyone. Hey, Shane. Hey, Abby. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, we're having a little fun. We've done some AI news. We've had Andre from Databricks, Erik from CodeRabbit. Now we have Gaurab from Mongo, and then Professor Andy is rescheduled. He's coming at the end. So we have a jam-packed show. But Gaurab, can you tell us a little bit about, what you do at Mongo? Obviously, I think everyone knows. You don't need to introduce Mongo. Everyone knows Mongo. But maybe you can tell a little bit about some of the stuff you're working on over there.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, hi, everyone. I'm Gaurab. I'm a senior product manager at MongoDB, and I mostly focus on AI frameworks and ecosystem. So this means it's a range of topic it's pretty broad. So all the way from MCP to individual integrations with frameworks such as Mastra falls kind of under me. And yeah, these days we're focusing a lot on simplifying building agents with partners such as yourself, and also thinking a lot about agent memory and how we can get the accuracy of these agents way more up.
That's awesome. Are you seeing a big trend now in in your users that are like maybe gravitating more towards like search APIs than necessarily just storage?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've seen an uptick in both in terms of retrieval and RAG context, but also primarily in terms of agent memory. And the way that we kind of fall into this picture is we see whenever customers are building agents, we see kind of diverse range of building blocks that they have to pick. So ranging from embedding models to a vector store to an OLTP store. And our vision is to really unify that and have kind of this one agentic database of choice, which is MongoDB, where you can have everything kind of available to you, including things like re-rankers. So yeah, we're definitely seeing that trend for sure.
That's awesome. I think right now the market for an AI agent is very fragmented across a lot of data stores and a lot of different like provider options. So you're saying like Mongo is going to have like all those tools built in?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm gonna
Please.
switch to screen sharing.
Yeah, we love to see. Seeing is believing. Let's see it.
I was just teeing it up for you, dude.
Awesome.
Yeah, I also love how this is focused, on memory. So, for those of you that are just tuning in, we don't do a ton of prep with our guests. We kind of let them lead, talk about the things that are interesting to them. So it was funny that we were talking quite a bit about agent memory earlier, and then that's what we're talking about now. So it all comes together almost like we planned it.
Almost.
Absolutely. I feel like it's a very hot topic currently, and yeah, I'm happy to be a part of it. So what I was talking about earlier, on the left-hand side, you can kind of see the pieces. Whenever you're building an agent, these pieces kind of have to come together. For example, like embedding model, your vector store, your re-ranker, these may be divergent across like different providers that you may have. And the vision that we really have is on the right side. So you have MongoDB, and actually I wanted to mention Voyage AI as well. Voyage AI is a company that MongoDB recently acquired, which provides cutting edge models, re-rankers for search and retrieval. So hopefully that provides an additional layer of context why MongoDB is effectively a one-stop shop for building an agent. So here you have obviously your OLTP data that you store, which is unstructured document data that you can store in MongoDB. Alongside with Voyage AI, we gain this factor of embedding model. And then alongside your OLTP data lie your vector search nodes that are independently scalable. And again, with the Voyage piece, to really make sure that you have top tier retrieval, we have re-rankers as well through there. And that is kind of the vision, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. And are you going to have more primitives above this like storage layer, or is it just going to be like, hey, use Voyage AI's different components and build whatever you want?
We'll have to see how the roadmap evolves, of course. But currently, we're really focused on the storage aspect of it and making sure that's nailed down. In addition to with Voyage, there comes a second picture, which is we want to make sure that the retrieval that you're getting is of the highest quality, whether it is through using re-rankers or just the embedding model, which if you look at the benchmarks, Voyage performs quite well in. So yeah.
Dang, that's cool.
So another thing that we can maybe talk about, I don't know if we can show it or not, but we can definitely talk about, we are working together on a kind of a combined template, right? Of using Mastra plus, Mongo. And can you tell us a little bit about that and what we can expect? I know we're not going to launch it yet, but maybe we can tease that, not everyone here, this is cone of silence. We're not going to share it out, but we'd like to give the audience a little preview on the live stream for those that tune in of things that might be coming down the pipe.
Yeah, for sure. Let me jump back to screen sharing. So y'all are seeing Master Playground, correct?
Yeah, so you are going to share it. Nice.
Yeah, I am going to share. So first of all, a huge shout out to you guys for putting this together. It's been incredibly helpful to kind of test my agent changes, whether it's prompt changes or even workflows. They have been super helpful in terms of building an agent, building this agent itself. So yeah, kudos to your team. What I wanted to talk about today in terms of a demo is to really show a very basic MongoDB agent. It's nothing like the auto generation of music that we just had, where I was jamming in backstage, but really to show a very simple template for MongoDB to get started with the MongoDB agent. So what we have put together here is an agent that is able to get access to your MongoDB, specifically your OLTP data, and then respond to questions. So this could be things like generating text to MongoDB query, or it could just be simply just browsing your data and your collection in MongoDB. So maybe we'll start off with a very small, simple prompt, something like show all collections. And what this is going to do, so we have custom tools that we built. So the 4 tools here are introspection, so kind of getting your database schema, all the way to seeding your database, to MongoDB query generation and execution. So here you can see that the agent called the introspection tool in order to get the collections that are in my database, and it just listed it out. But you can do something a little bit more complex than this. So for example, if you want to, let me just paste this prompt here because I don't want to type live. Let's say you want to just list all products where the rating is greater than 4. So you may be doing these things while you're developing, just to make sure that your agent is giving out the right answer, or maybe you're in analytics and you want to just browse the data that you have in your database. So here, when we send that prompt out, it uses the generation tool, then the execution tool, and then there it is. It prints out the exact query that you'd run, and then it actually additionally runs that and gives you the results of that query. So yeah, that is effectively the demo. The 2 things I wanted to touch upon, the integrations that we have in Master today, and we hope to get much deeper than this over time, are vector stores. So any RAG use cases, any enterprise data that you have, you can use our vector store to kind of retrieve and add that context into your agent. And then the second one relates to memory, where currently the working memory is enabled. And what you can see in the back end, so I'm switching over to actually inspecting my underlying data store itself in MongoDB. You can see for the database that we have, it's an e-commerce database. You can see things like collection of products, orders, customers, etc. But
yeah, I think you're only right. Yeah, you're only sharing the. There it is.
Is it good now?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, awesome. So I'm just to set the context, I'm on MongoDB Atlas, and I'm just browsing, inspecting my Atlas cluster that I'm using to power that agent. So as I mentioned, the OLTP data lives right here. So it's an e-commerce database. So all the products, collection of products, orders, customers, that they exist here. But the interesting thing for me, particularly while building this agent, more specifically agent memory feature, are the collections for messages and threads. So you can see how memory is configured using MongoDB store. And here are kind of your threads. And then you can see the messages associated to that threads in this collection.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that was a little demo. Hopefully that gives a little taste of what's coming very soon as a template. And something else that we also want to emphasize is the capability of integrating MCP. So what you just saw here were custom tools that we made. But what we actually want to do over time is empower developers to just use our official MCP server integrated in, and your MongoDB tools are right there without you having to whip them up in a custom tool, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Dude, I love the generation tool, because in our current vector implementations, we for each store, we baked in some system prompt that would educate the agent to query properly. but it's so hard to pull off, right? But it's way easier for an agent to get context to generate the query, and then you just generate it rather than like it have to learn the query syntax and then like fill in the bubbles or whatever. I love that, dude. I think that'll be a pattern actually. You guys making moves there. That's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's one thing coming to Mastra. You know, if for those of you watching, we have templates, mastra.ai/templates. We will be releasing a more official like integration section because we want to. Mastra does integrate with different services like Mongo, and we want to make sure that if you are coming from the world where you're using Mongo for something and you want to pick up Mastra, you have this easy to install, easy to use template that shows you all the patterns. And then of course you're going to build upon it, right? It's not going to get you all the way there, but it should educate you and also get you started faster. And so we're excited that, you know, Mongo is going to be one of the first featured ones of the list. So we've been working closely, and yeah, no exact date, but it's coming soon.
Absolutely. I think what something I wanted to mention, the reason why we love Mastra particularly, we think there's so much synergy with TypeScript, JavaScript, and MongoDB. And we've seen this historically. And Shane, this is going to be a conversation we have in loop over and over again. But historically, we've seen kind of like the mean stack trend where developers were able to spin up web applications really quickly using MongoDB, Node, etc. So I think we really believe that, you know, with frameworks such as Mastra and TypeScript frameworks in general, there's so much synergy with MongoDB, and in terms of, especially with Mastra, being able to spin up an agent really quickly, as we just saw. Although I didn't show the code, which we'll show through templates, it becomes very easy and simple. And I love the playground feature that you have here. Like it helps us just quickly iterate on our agent and our prompts, and then test the results and run evals. So yeah, thanks a lot for all your hard work.
Thanks for being a fan.
Yeah, and thanks for, you know, helping us with the integration too, making sure that, you know, obviously there's more we still want to do, but it works pretty well today, and that's, you know, thankful that you all helped us get there.
Absolutely, happy to.
Yeah, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? I want to say thanks for helping with the TypeScript AI conference. You know, thanks for being a sponsor. We do appreciate, you know, the help of, you know, making sure that we have more. It's great when you have great companies that want to contribute and really like help spread the word around TypeScript AI. I think, as you just mentioned, there's a lot of synergy there, and it's exciting that you're all a part of it.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm looking forward to seeing y'all in person
next week.
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah, and for those of you watching, you know, you can come join us. There's still a few tickets. There's actually not much. I think we're down to like maybe 20 tickets or something like that. Last time I checked. I don't know. There's very few tickets left, but there are a few. And, you know, if it sells out, which it's probably going to, you know, DM me and maybe I can sneak you in. I don't know. We'll see. Well, thanks for coming on the show. You definitely, as you get more, especially as you launch more stuff around memory, we'd love to have you come back on and showcase it, you know, later this year, early next year, whenever you have big launches, come on and
absolutely, for sure. We have some good stuff cooking up. So I would love to come back and kind of show those off and show some more complicated demos for sure. Complicated, but useful.
And, you know, DZN Ghost AI says, this is exciting. And also says, where is it? I'm assuming you mean the conference. The conference is in San Francisco next week, November 6th, if I have my dates correctly. That's when I'm going to be there, at least. So hopefully that's the date. All right, Gaurab, well, it's great having you on. And yeah, we'll have you on again in the future.
Thanks a lot for having me on. Good to meet you.
Yeah.
See ya.
Dude, our sponsors are tight, dude. Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you know, and this is, you know, of course it's our conference. We're going to say this, right? We're throwing the conference, but I can honestly say I'm surprised at the quality of both sponsors and speakers. Not that I didn't think we would get some of them, right? I knew that, you know, we have friends. We're going to get some big names. I'm actually just surprised at the sheer quantity and quality of people we have. Like,
yeah,
the conference is going to be great. If you are not able to attend in person, sign up. At minimum, you can maybe watch some of the keynotes that are interesting to you. And, you know, if nothing else, you can tune in and get the recording. So please go sign up, tsconf.ai.
I like that it's single track, and we've been going to a lot of conferences lately, so I don't want to like talk shit, but I'm going to. I just feel like with all of the speakers we have and like what we're planning, like you're gonna like be when you leave the conference, you're just gonna be in thought because there's gonna be a lot of stuff said that you want to think about, you know, and that's always a good feeling.
Yeah. I think it's just a good collection of people from the JavaScript, TypeScript ecosystem that are building really cool things in AI. It's all like, people that are active in this space, and the sponsors, that we have are amazing as well. So, all right. Well, we have one more segment for today's show. We have, someone who needs no introduction because he's been on the show many times and coming back on again for, I think this is maybe the third time, fourth time, I lose track. But we have Andy from Osmosis. So welcome, Andy.
Hey,
Andy.
me again. Yeah, it's I think it's my third time.
Third time. All right. Well, who's counting? But third. That's
He's
awesome.
a recurring character in the show.
Yeah. You are a recurring character. You even have your own name. It's Professor Andy because that's how we refer to you, because every time we talk, we learn a lot. And so we're excited to just chat with you and figure out what's new in your world. Saw you had a big launch, recently. So maybe you can talk about that. Yeah. How are things going?
Yeah, so we just had our launch last Wednesday. So we did like a couple of videos, went into like the mountains to film like this nature documentary.
Yeah, we got to show the video. So let's let Abby, can you pull that up?
I'll pull it up.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll show the video.
I can talk like the reason why we did that is because like reinforcement learning as a concept has been inspired from nature, from like the classic dopamine, like, oh, you did something good versus you touch a stove, you did something bad. Yeah, so we decided like kind of do that, and then using goats to climb hills, kind of like a double meaning there. Yeah, it went well. I think we got like a lot of like interest and inbound from the launch, and yeah, been working on deployments right now, so like very, very busy, but I guess it's a good thing, right?
Let's inspect this amazing video, which I laughed so hard.
Yeah, it was funny. Okay. All right, full screen that.
In nature, intelligence isn't static. Every step and every hill climbed is shaped by the world around us. And by learning from experience, we eventually succeed. We want to do the same for AI. Hi, I'm Casey, co-founder of Osmosis. We're building the first end-to-end reinforcement learning platform that helps AI agents learn in real time. 2025 was supposed to be the year of the AI agent. Instead, companies realized that while powerful, AI agents still struggle when it comes to consistency and efficiency.
Osmosis helps companies fine-tune open source models that can outperform foundation models at a fraction of the cost and latency. Osmosis is purpose-built for agentic use cases like tool use and code generation. We integrate directly with your tools and offer a streamlined way for developers to spin up reinforcement fine-tuning runs. You can also set rules to enable continuous model updates. And best yet, we offer direct model serving and the ability to export model weights after training. It's simple. Your data, your weights.
That's such a fire.
At Osmosis, our vision is to create a future where AI agents are able to self-improve. So just like in nature, today's experiences will shape tomorrow's outcomes.
Dude.
Nice.
That was
well done, Andy.
Well done, dude.
Thank you.
Dude. I think it's like if you know we know you two. So when you guys like come into frame for the first time,
I was like, oh, dude.
Like, shit, dude, it was so.
Yeah, we know these people.
Yeah, like we went on, we've hung out enough where it's just like, yeah, we know you personally, but it's funny to see it in video because.
Oh, yeah. there were so many bugs when we were filming. We took so many takes because there were like bugs will keep flying on our face. Yeah, but many outtakes that I don't know if we'll do it behind the scenes.
At the end, there's like bugs on his face.
No, literally, I think
like
a bug almost like flew into my mouth while I was talking, and I had to like that take was also really good. Like I didn't mess up at all or anything, but we had to retake it because the bug was there.
Yeah, I think it was very tastefully done, though.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it was nice because I would say it's well done, but it wasn't so over the top. I've seen some launch videos lately that are, which, I think everyone should launch their own way. If you're a kind of company that wants to do over the top, you should really do over the top. But our style is definitely not that. And I think you had like a nice tasteful, like it's really well done, but not so, it's not too over the top,
We're not looking to do like whole skits or movie productions. Like that's
Yeah.
overkill for what we need to do. Just like get our name out there, like make some clever like references, and that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's enough enough of like the hill climb goats, I just think for people in the industry, they can respect that. It's like there's some Easter eggs in there, but it's it's still just kind of like tastefully done.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Dude, so before we get into like how crazy RL is hyping up, I think one point that justifies that statement is you guys just threw RL IRL.
Yes.
Give the users a recap of that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we were amazed by the turnout. So we did this in collaboration with YC and a couple of other companies that was interested or doing RL, like Reptile, Encore, like Reducto. So these companies are also interested in co-hosting with us. And then we brought on our angel investor, so Shane Gu, a senior staff researcher at DeepMind, to do like a main keynote talk. YC had a hard limit of 200 people that were allowed to attend the event. We were kind of aiming for like 300 to 400 signups. We ended up getting like over 800 signups. So that was like a pretty insane turnout. And yeah, like we had some pretty amazing people show up. So yeah, it was a one-day event. We talked a little bit about like building RL environments because that's also heating up right now. I think for folks who are mostly like software engineers and builders and not necessarily like very experienced in like ML or reinforcement learning, they can still get started and be involved by building these bespoke environments. And quite frankly, the labs will pay a lot of money for them. So that's kind of like a new industry that's popping up. And then for us, like we're helping companies do end-to-end deployments. So for us, it's like a lot more involved, like not just like providing you an environment and be done, but we provide like the whole inference training, like collection stack. But yeah, it's been something that like, I think from the beginning of the year, we started on working on RL. Everybody is just kind of like, oh, what is this? How does it compare to supervised fine tuning? Why do we need this? Still like in a more understanding phase, right? And now everybody is like, oh, like this is the key to unlock like superhuman or like perform better than human level intelligence. I think a really good example of classical RL is on the like the AlphaGo paper or like Google DeepMind's like Go player. But it showed like RL can scale to beyond human level performance, and now we're taking the same strategy and approach to language models and like getting agentic tasks to scale on the environments that people are building right now.
So people have drank the Kool-Aid, is that what you're saying?
I think so. I think people are drinking the Kool-Aid, and I have mixed feelings. I think it's good that people are caring about RL, but I think it's also a time to take a step back and look at the state of the field and industry and see that what can we do with RL, what can't we do with RL, and just be more realistic, right? Be more grounded about like what this technology can actually let us do, right? I think there is a school of thought of people where people think that reinforcement learning is the key to AGI. Personally, I don't think that is the case, but I do believe reinforcement learning can and is unlocking a lot of like potential that these models are having right now. So it is definitely still something that is worthwhile exploring.
So I have a question. As someone who is somewhat familiar, I got some.
I think we have audio issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back?
Avi, I'm looking at you. Was it you?
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay. Yeah. All right. So it's temporary difficulties. No. So I got a question. So you said, people had the realization that, trying to figure out the differences between RL and supervised fine tuning in as simple of terms as possible for those of us, who maybe don't understand deeply these terms. What's the difference?
Yeah. So supervised fine tuning as is like SFT standard, it's teaching the model to learn a certain behavior based on a predefined golden data set, i.e., I will tell you that 1 + 1 = 2, and your job as a model is to remember that. So next time when I ask you what 1 + 1 is, you should tell me 2. Reinforcement learning is a reward-based mechanism in the sense that I will not tell you what 1 plus 1 is, but I will give you a calculator. And then it is your job to push buttons on that calculator in a certain way so that you can tell me that the answer is 2. And if you get the answer, I'll give you a positive reward, meaning like I'll give you like a piece of candy, like you did great. And if you don't get the right answer, you don't get that candy, right? So the model is incentivized to try different strategies until it can figure out that 1 plus 1 equals 2. Now, why is this a powerful technique? Is because in supervised fine tuning, if I then ask you what is 2 plus 2, you might not know that it is 4 because all you did was remember that, 1 plus 1 equals 2, easy. But in reinforcement learning, you learn the strategy of here is the number that I should punch into this calculator to tell me what the correct answer is. So that is the biggest difference between reinforcement learning and supervised fine tuning. In a more like holistic way, reinforcement learning is a very classical method in machine learning where you're minimizing a loss function, right? And reinforcement learning is honestly like a very different from traditional machine learning because it is trying to maximize some kind of reward.
In RL, does that mean like you're optimizing to call tools better?
Yes, exactly. So that also depends on something called a reward function. Let's say that I am a Mastro agent and I am trying to call some kind of scheduling tool, right? And maybe there is 5 different scheduling tools. I can schedule a Zoom call. I can schedule a Google Calendar. I can schedule a doctor's appointment. What is the correct tool to call? That is what reinforcement learning will try to teach, right? If I ask the user like, hey, schedule my doctor's appointment for next month at like 3 p.m. And let's say that in one of the traces, the model decided to schedule a Zoom meeting with a doctor, right, at 3 p.m. He kind of got it, but that's not really what we need. But let's say in another trace, the model chose to call the schedule doctor's appointment tool. Then we reinforce that trace. So every single time when the user asks schedule a doctor's appointment, we know to call that specific tool.
Mm-hmm. How many traces does it take to become like more efficient?
Yeah. So reinforcement learning, the nice thing about it is that it can be quite sample efficient in a way that you only need a couple hundred of really high quality traces to get started and see some results. Now, for production use cases, the real answer is your use case may vary, but typically we see data traces about 500 to 1,000 to get started, and then we will scale up to maybe 10,000 and beyond if we want like more diverse and more robust model behavior.
Dude. Your product's looking better too from that demo.
Yeah, thank you. We've gone through a lot of iterations.
So for someone that wants to do something like this on their own, what's the process for someone to take one of these open source models and do reinforcement learning on it? What tools did they need? How would they even go about getting started? I'm assuming that's at least some of what you talked about
Yes.
in RL, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about it? I'm just personally curious, but also I think a lot of other people are probably wondering like what's it take to get started with some of this stuff?
For sure, yeah. I can talk about like the way that our platform is built because we help to handle a lot of this hard work under the hood. So what we still require from users is tools, right? So how do you define the tools and the code for those tools? Because we need to run them on our environment in our sandboxes. It could be a situation where you only expose like a API endpoint to us, but you will still need the harness to call the API endpoint if you don't want to share the code with us. The other thing that you would require is a data set, right? Data set is things like what is the system prompt, what is the user prompt, and what is the expected ground truth. The ground truth here can be a variety of meanings, right? It can be either, let's say I'm training my agent to be really good at using Notion. Then it could be what the Notion database should look like after the agent is done with his task, right? If I want my agent to be really good at like handling customer support tickets, then the ground truth should be, well, what was the resolution action that the model should be making, right? And then in the training process, you will have to specify what tool you want enabled, what data set you have, and select the model size. Typically for model size, we suggest people start off with something around the 8 to 14 billion parameter range because open source models today, even at small levels, can get really, really good with reinforcement learning. If there is a requirement, let's say your use case is very complex, has multiple stages, and have multiple like different sub agents that work together, maybe it will be worth it to do a larger model like a 32B, a 70B, or beyond. Right now, like our platform can support anything 7dB or below. If you want to do like bespoke tuning for 235 or 408 or even the 1 trillion parameter model, that'll be a more custom engagement with us. Yeah.
So that's why you were saying environments are really important, because if you're trying to run Mostra agents that have tools,
Mhm.
you would need to initialize Node.js and then actually execute. And this is not coming from an MCP server. It's just something I wrote myself, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You need the harness to allow your model to interact with the real world. And the goal here is to try to get your training environment to be as close as a match to the production environment so that your model will not be experiencing data that it's not like seeing in training.
Interesting. That's super cool. Are you self-serving this now, or are you still, embedding yourself in teams and shit?
So right now we're still very forward deployed, and the catch here is that we're mostly using like our platform right now to help people deploy models, so we can dog food like the platform. We are making changes to it like every single day, and we hope to have it self-serve ready by Q1 of next year.
Dang.
Yeah. I mean, well, when you said that 800 people tried to get into the event and you only allowed 200 in, me as a my product manager / marketing hat comes on and says, dang, there's some demand there. So are you running another one in the future? Like, how are you, what do those 600 people do now that they didn't get in? They weren't one of the chosen few to get into the event.
Yeah, so we have recorded all of our keynotes, our breakout sessions, so they'll be available online. We will definitely look to do another one, probably not like in the next weeks or the upcoming like month or two, but eventually like we'll definitely do more events. We'll also do more RL reading groups as well. So in those events, it's geared towards more like researchers and people that like do this for their job. But we read some research papers on like latest techniques in RL, what's helpful. We share some notes. And in the conferences that we do is more geared towards application companies or people that are developing agents. Yeah, but we'll definitely do more.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think having if there's that many people that are interested, holding the events, one, so people can learn, but two, so you can meet people that are interested. It seems like a great way to keep growing the interest in RL. And I think it's here to stay for quite a while. Like, it's just very, very hot topic. I hear about it all the time now.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? I feel like it's just like a few months ago, nobody except me was yapping about it, and now everybody is.
I mean, yeah, we went on those walks, and you were telling me all about it. And I was like, "This sounds cool," but I'm only hearing about it from you, but that just means you were ahead of the game. You were talking about it before everyone else was, and now everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, I'll put on the "I was here before it was cool" hat.
Yeah,
if that means anything.
Professor, dude, teach all these fools. But at what point, let's say I build my product, I haven't done shit.
Yep.
Zero, nothing. At what point do you suggest me coming to you to start doing it?
For new agent builders, our advice is always to use the best models from foundational labs, right? From OpenAI, from Anthropic, from Gemini. The reasoning for that is because once you really train your own model, your model will be expecting almost the same structure every single time, or else you will have to retrain, right? That's the benefit of closed source models, is because they're so large, they can practically handle any environment okay, right? But that's also a limitation, is because they're slow, they're expensive, and they can only handle any environment okay, right? So once you have enough traffic, I would say like upwards to thousands or even tens of thousands of user sessions or user requests per day, that's when it will make more sense for you to scale using your own model. The benefit of using your own model is also quite clear. Typically, we see engagements where companies can compress down GPT-5 to an 8 billion parameter model. This usually yields up to 15x in speed improvement, and also it's only costing them about like 5 to 10% of the cost. And typically, performance is about the same, if not even more stable, because we train the model to be really, really good at that company's agent environment itself.
I know what company you're talking about. I'm just gonna keep it to myself. But are you publicizing who you're working with?
So for some companies, we are doing case studies that will be coming out, and some companies, like in the agreement, we are not going to discuss, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've seen some things shared on X from people in other companies, so I think there's at least some that I've seen that are public. But that's cool. I'll look forward to seeing some of the case studies.
Of course, yeah.
And I'm sure everyone listening is going to now keep their eyes out. Awesome. Well, let's see here. Andy, if anyone wants to follow Andy, you can do so there. Check out osmosis.ai if Andy's described things that are of interest to you. Anything else to close out, Andy?
Yeah, I think this is becoming a really exciting market very quickly, and I would love to see how RL turns out for 2026. I think 2025, like originally, I think it is still the year of the agents, but very quickly people realized once agents are working at scale and working at production, they may want to own everything in-house, and in that point, RL becomes a really attractive solution. So yeah, if you're building agents, if you have a lot of traffic, and you're seeing things like there's too slow, you're not controlling the quality, you're kind of doing whack-a-mole by just adjusting the prompts on different edge cases, yeah, definitely talk to us.
Awesome. And let us know if you need a master environment.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Thanks, Andy. We'll see you later.
See you, Professor.
Take care.
What a doozy that was.
Yeah, school was in session.
School was in session. I don't know if I'm past the test, dude.
I'm not going to pass this test, but I was here. I attended. Do I get attendance credit?
Nah, but at least you'll get like a D at least.
Yeah, at least passing. Awesome, dude. This was a long show.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
So much information.
Tons of great guests.
I guess we can play one of our outros.
I know.
Today.
I was gonna just say, like, you pick one of the outro songs.
All right.
Everyone's got the copy of the book, mastra.ai/book, if you don't have your copy. And we will be back again next week. We're gonna do it in person next week.
Yeah, I think so.
So next week, just housekeeping. It's gonna be a little later because I think we're gonna have to do it like an hour later next week.
Yeah.
So because I think I land right around this time. So we've been kind of moving things around for travel schedules, and we will still do it on Monday. Might be a little later in the afternoon, but maybe we'll have some others that can join us for the show as well.
Yeah, we'll probably record some content at the conference and post it later.
Yeah. We have a bunch of people from the Master team that are traveling in too, so it's gonna be a fun week.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are not following us, please do. You're gonna see a lot of cool, fun content over the next week, and if you want to follow us, you can do so on X. Right there, SMThomas3 or Abi Iyer on X. And yeah, you want to send us off?
Sending us off.
No, it's not. I can't hear it. You're gonna have to share your screen.
Technical difficulties. We'll get better at it.
Yeah, we got to learn. There's probably a way just to share some audio.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
Peace.
The knowledge about agents wild and free. From automation to pure strategy. That's where you need to be. So what you gonna do when the agents?
All right, everyone. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.